Okay, what are the odds?
So far, smart money's on you're making something else, not this recipe.
Okay, well, I'm not only making this recipe, but I have prepped and actually cut like 3/4 of the
I
vegetables.
just lost my entire month's paycheck. That's okay. It was worth it. Well,
Okay,
welcome,
and
everyone.
I'm hard at work there.
All right, all right. I'm proud of you. And I have good news for anyone who is making this, but hasn't started yet, and is like a little concerned that it's like way too many ingredients and they're not so sure they want to be doing this. I've just finished mine and it's delicious, but don't listen to me because you guys know me. I like everything. Terry Sirota just signed on and she just could only stay on for a few minutes, but she wanted to let us know that she loved this soup so much. So if you're making this, you're in for a treat. Lisa, you're looking skeptical. Did you already make yours? And you liked it?
Yes, I made it because I was worried I would lose power because of the pending storm.
Yeah.
So I got laundry going, the kitchen's cleaned up, and everything's in the freezer.
Oh my goodness. All right. And any suggestions from the recipe, including what you did at the end, if you did any seasoning adjustments?
I added in several more cups of water because it did get really, really thick because of the pasta.
Yeah.
So I want to say I added in 4 to 6 additional cups of water.
Yep.
And it still looks rather thick.
Yes.
I should put that on the label, can thin with water or broth. Let's see, I had some myself for a very late lunch and did the scallions on top. I did add scallions after the soup cooled down in the fridge. I chopped the scallions and put some on top and then put them in the freezer. Yeah, so it's really good. I used fennel, and fennel gives it a sweetness, a depth of sweetness.
I agree. I was just tasting mine and I thought between the carrots and the fennel, this is such a sweet soup, but it isn't sweet like sugar or honey because of the fennel. It's a really much more interesting sweet than just sweet, right?
Fennel is very interesting. I have a fennel mint tea that I love, and it's naturally sweet because of the fennel.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to sweeten some up, get yourself some fennel.
I have questions. My first question slash statement is I'm using celery, not fennel. But my question is, why do I have to drain the garbanzo beans? Why can't I just pour in that with lava?
Yeah, you don't have to drain the
okay.
Yeah.
I have a question too. Can you hear me?
Yes,
oh, okay.
Definitely. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm on my phone instead of my computer tonight, so I'm like technically challenged.
All good.
My question is about the tomatoes. It says rough chop.
Yeah.
Like cut them in half. Is this enough? Or
I think whatever you're going to do is enough. It's going to cook enough to get kind of soft. What I did, if that matters, especially for the ones that weren't just small little grape ones, is I cut it lengthwise half and then widthwise half. And if when I get 2 thumbs up from Lisa Gappanoris, I know I'm doing the right thing. So I'm feeling good about that recommendation.
Okay.
Is Marsha on? Marsha, are you? Yes, that's you saying iPad. I have a question for you, Marsha. So I posted on social media, and I can play it here for you guys if anybody wants to know, but it's Melissa Clark, whose recipe this is. She's the New York Times food writer. And I posted a YouTube that shows how to cut and clean and use fennel. And my question for Marsha is, she's telling us just to use the bulb and to chop it all up. She even said to get rid of the root part of the bulb, which I didn't because I'm cooking it for so long. I figured it's fine. But what can I do with all the tops and the greens? She said, hang on to it, but I feel like I should just put it in this soup. Except
I did the stems in the soup. The greens, I tasted and they're a little stringy, so I'm not going to use them.
Okay.
But you could use any of those top greens for pesto. Like I have carrots that came like this. So I'm going to probably try to make a carrot top pesto. But I would, if you have other greens to put in with it, maybe try to use it for pesto, and it probably would taste good.
What a great idea. I love that. All right. If you think of it, Well, what would you put in with your carrot tops and your, what are we making here? And your fennel greens? What else would you throw in? What kind of nuts would you use with that kind of pesto?
Pine nuts,
Pine
probably.
nuts, and then
or-
garlic and oil? Boom.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, good. I love that.
try
And
it.
Kira,
We'll see.
welcome. I want to introduce you all to Kira, who is going to be leading us next week. And I'm so glad you're cooking with us today. We're talking about what a great soup this one's turning out to be. So are you cooking or are you just joining?
I am cooking, and sorry, I had some technical difficulties, but we are online now.
Fantastic.
And I have my helpers here in the kitchen, my
Oh,
daughter
you-
Lucy,
Hey, girls.
and
Thanks for
this
cooking
is
with
my
us.
au pair, Angie. She's from Colombia.
Oh, that's so fun. Welcome.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Terrific. Well, here's what we do. We check in if anybody has questions before they start cooking, and we're all at kind of different places in the process, which is good because then we kind of learn from the ones who have already been through some of this or have a particular wealth of experience with ingredients that we all don't use. But right now, I think everyone is just heating up their oil and throwing in their carrots, fennel, and celery and onion.
Yes.
Fennel or celery and onion. Is that where we are, folks?
Oh.
Beautiful. Sarah, you making soup with us today?
I am, but like I said, my iPad will not bring in, which I'm using over on my stove. It won't bring it in. So I'm jumping back and forth to my computer.
Oh, don't worry. I'll stop
No.
making you jump back.
No worries. I just want to see everybody, but I am cooking right now. I'm putting everything in the
Fantastic.
pot, ready to go.
All right, great.
Wait, okay.
And Kira, maybe in a little bit when everybody's kind of got their stuff simmering, we can like talk about what's going to happen next week and about uprooted dam. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's get these pots moving. Lisa, I had a bunch of parsley that I pulled just because I didn't know what I was pulling from outside before the rain. What do you think about chopping up some parsley? No, right? It's not the right kind of flavor. Well, maybe it'll break
No,
up
that
some
would
of
be
that
fine.
sweet.
Parsley goes with almost anything.
Yeah,
So-
just throw it in there.
Or put it in your pesto mix.
Ah, I love that.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Are people adding in the rosemary, which says that it's optional?
I did because I love rosemary.
I added it in also. It's really a very nice flavor. And it's not super high amount for the volume.
Right. I mean, honestly, the cayenne appeared more significant to me than the rosemary. You too, Lisa? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got a nice little kick on this, and it didn't tell you how much cayenne to use. I didn't think I used a lot, but somehow it came through. It's great.
Yeah, I sort of thought, well, red pepper flakes. I mean, this is a high volume. I've got 2 pots because that's how I cook. And yeah, it has a little bite to it because I was generous, even though I didn't think I was, but it's still nice.
So if I were to use the dried rosemary, how much do you think I should use it?
Maybe a tablespoon? What do you think, Lisa?
Yeah, I don't recall that. I would start with maybe a scant tablespoon to see how that tastes.
Okay.
Yeah, at first. And you want to make sure, maybe break it up into smaller pieces, because if your rosemary might be long needles, I would break it up or chop it up so that it softens and it isn't as noticeable when you're eating it in chunks. And
Yeah, and put it in early when you're cooking your veggies, Neha, I think.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's so sweet. It is so crazy when vegetables can make something taste so sweet.
It's like my favorite parsnips, right?
Mhm.
Love them. What kind of greens did everybody use?
I use kale because I like, I tend to use kale most. How about anybody else?
I also bought kale.
Lisa, what'd you use?
I use spinach, but again, because I really wanted to try the mustard green, but after 2 or 3 stops and didn't find them, I simply gave up. So even though the spinach, I use the packaged quadruple wash spinach that's more of like a baby spinach than a regular leaf. To me, the baby spinach is very good, but it disintegrates much faster in soup. I think adult spinach is probably better, but nonetheless, it still has the vitamins and gives the green, and so it's a pretty color.
Yeah. I was so curious. I hope someone here is cooking with the arugula because I would love to find out how that peppery taste goes with the sweetness of the veggies. Anybody doing arugula?
I bought some, so I'll add the arugula to the menu. And I think I'm going to mix some kale and spinach. I might have a little bit of Swiss chard too.
Oh my goodness. What a
Well, I think
potpourri over there.
Green is green, mix it all up. It's all
Why not?
green.
I don't really know what mustard greens are. I'm doing spinach and celery, so I'm taking the, picky eater way out. For
Okay.
this.
Anybody
what
want
are
to help
mustard
Cheryl with
greens?
mustard greens? Marcia, no?
I'm doing Swiss chard. And the stalks were kind of stringy, so I just peeled them like I do with celery sometimes, and then I chop them up. So
Yeah.
let's see. So I don't know.
Do you have a Band-Aid on the back of your arm?
Oh no, it's a sugar
Oh.
scent.
Mhm.
I'm trying to see what the foods do to my sugar.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it's a 2-week monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Here.
high tech.
Okay. Kira, are you reading a recipe or are you trying to speak up?
I am reading the recipe.
Mhm.
I've been amazed. So I did my mise en place,
Mhm.
got it all ready, and literally started cooking at 5:30. And this is such a fast, easy recipe.
Yeah, because you did all the prep work.
Yeah.
So Kira, this is Kira's first Kind Soup, everybody, and she'll be leading us next week, but we do try to look for recipes that are chock filled with good stuff, but are easy to make within the hour. And we kind of like chit-chatting, and Marge likes her wine, so we don't want to do so much work during the hour. There you go. Cheers, everyone. So
I learned everything I know about wine from Deb Lang. So
then you are an expert, trust me.
see,
So yeah, Kira, that's kind of our sweet spot. We're looking for recipes that we can make a lot of and that will be delicious, but really aren't going to have us working really hard for a whole hour together.
Yeah, no, that's the best way to cook.
Yeah.
So for next week's recipe, I was telling Deb that I still want to, I think I'm going to add a couple ingredients to the list. Based on, I'm kind of basing it off of a Jose Andres recipe and then my own ideas on things.
Good.
But it's a great base. I think there's just going to be 2 or 3 extra ingredients that I wanted to add. Good.
All right. So we're going to stick with the original recipe and you'll amend it in the next couple of days. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
is it already posted?
Well, Marge, it's our watermelon gazpacho recipe that we've made and enjoyed during the past couple summers.
That's a Melissa Clark recipe.
Yes, so that is posted, but by maybe tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest, I bet I'll have Kira's changes uploaded.
Well, here, let me take a poll actually, because I thought I was going to be using a Jose Andres watermelon gazpacho recipe, but then I noticed his just says melon. so then I was like, ooh, I've never made like a cantaloupe
Mhm.
gazpacho. We could
Mhm.
try it and it would be a grand experiment. I don't know how people feel about that, or if they want to stick with the good old watermelon and tomato, which is always delicious.
It's hard to not trust Jose. I don't know. Yeah, that the regular recipe is so fantastic. I think less people like cantaloupe, but
Yeah.
honeydew might also be delicious.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there is so much we could do to play with it. The only other consideration though is I think watermelon is significantly cheaper than the other melons to
Yeah.
make like a big huge.
Especially since it's on sale this week at Giants. I've already bought mine.
Well, then let's stick with watermelon.
I mean, you can do cantaloupe. I'm just saying, I've got mine. I'm gonna do watermelon, because I bought it already. But I agree.
Kira, we love suggestions here, but we're not good rule followers.
There's
Well,
no-
I'm not either. Usually I don't follow recipes. I just look at them and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Perfect. You found your happy people. We're all good.
So what are you planning on adding to the recipe? I'm curious. Other
Some,
than cantaloupe.
yeah, either red wine vinegar or sherry vinegar to give it a little bit of a pop.
Okay.
And maybe like a tablespoon or two of lemon juice as well. And then like a tangy creme fraiche that people can dollop if they want to.
The problem with that is
Will it curdle, do you think?
it's hard to freeze it. We deliver this soup, and putting that on top and freezing it, it loses its, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but a lot of times we get the recipes that show for serving, serve it with a dollop of creme fraiche. And so we'll make significantly less of that because you're right, Marge, we can't really put that in the ones that we're freezing and sharing.
Right.
But I think just, we'll work on the recipe, Kira, so we can show that will be especially delicious that way.
Sounds good.
So when you said red wine vinegar, Lisa, are you listening? When Kira mentioned red wine vinegar, I thought, aha, I think I want to throw some of that in with this soup. What do you think? To kind of like offset that sweetness and be even more poppy delicious.
One of the ingredients that I use, similar to that, my secret ingredient is Worcestershire sauce. And I splash that in, especially with tomato-based things, chilies, but it's one of those ingredients that really gives it a tang.
Yep, I love that idea. Of course, I think that has anchovies, so be careful when you mark what your ingredients are. But I love that idea.
I don't even know what's in it, really. I just use it.
Yeah,
Anchovies, so it's not vegan anymore. You lose the vegan.
Yeah.
And well, most vegetarians eat fish, but not all of them. I almost think you have to say it has fish in it.
you have to say it, yeah. Marcia, what do you think about a little vinegar or Worcestershire? Or you don't know yet because you haven't made it? Yeah, okay. Kira, you want to weigh in on that? Based on
First of all, I didn't know Worcestershire had anchovies in it, so you learn something every day.
That's the cool thing about this.
You can buy it vegan. You can buy a vegan anchovy.
Oh, and remember we had a recipe to make it vegan, Marge.
Yeah, we did.
It's on our website somewhere, Kira. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll taste it first before
you weigh in. All right. I'm going to wait you out because I know you're a great cook.
Okay, just to add in an interesting twist, has nothing to do with soup. I took a cooking class online during COVID and I learned how to make salmon chorizo. And it was so good. I couldn't believe it. It tasted really like chorizo. A lot of steps involved in ingredients, but a great recipe.
That's so interesting sounding. Wow. That sounds like the stuff Marcia makes, although hers doesn't have salmon in it, but she's looking for all these non-meat alternative classes, taking all these non-meat alternative classes that sound fabulous.
We made apple fennel sausages that were unbelievable.
And what was, and it was the,
it was with
alternatives.
TVP. It's gluten basically.
Hi, Lynn Parsons, welcome.
I think it was with this TVP, total vegetable protein, which is, oh, this is gluten-free. I think it was with this, chili, tacos, meatballs, and more, yeah. I think it was with this. And it was like an all-day process, I have to say, until
Yeah,
you roll the
Look at
sausages.
this too. Oh my
But
goodness.
it was really good.
Lisa, did they use canned salmon or you used fresh salmon for that?
No, this was such an interesting class that the salmon was shipped from Alaska. This restaurateur who also fishes, he fishes and he's a chef. And so it was fresh salmon got delivered on a block of ice. And then you used all different spices and there was some kind of red boat fish sauce went into it. And you used, I had to pull out my food processor, but who cares? Because I had all day to do it, right? But it was online. I mean, I had all day to clean up and I wasn't going anywhere clearly. So,
Yeah.
but I've made it once since. And again, it tastes just like chorizo and salmon. I mean, it's good.
That is just fantastic. Well, if anybody wants to share the great recipes that they mentioned while we're all together on Monday evenings, send me recipes and I'll send them out to everyone who's on today or any other day. Welcome, Salma. Welcome, Lynn.
Can I ask a couple questions for folks?
Absolutely.
Where do you all typically donate your soups? Do you have like the same place you go to every time or different places?
I'm going to start with the biggest bang for your buck answer. And that is one of the food assistance providers is the Up County Hub, and they're in Germantown. And Marge, because she is a goddess, offers everyone on the call, if they want to, they can drop off with her and she will get their soups up there. I don't do that only because Marge has cornered the market. So I try to give to some of the other ones so that other food assistance providers don't, run away and cry. So I deliver mine to Rainbow, which is in Silver Spring, and they have drop-offs during the week, mornings, usually 10 to 1, or to Here to Help, which is in Bethesda on Sunday mornings, right at the same time as that fabulous market is at Bethesda Elementary. So those are typically where I drop off. How about anybody else want to share?
The reason
I bring to Here to Help on Sundays.
The reason
I want
let me explain why we go to Up County. There were two reasons. Number one, during COVID, this was the only thing I could do. You have to run your car periodically, and to go from Carderock to Germantown was enough of a trip that I could do it and come back and sometimes stop at Costco on the way. That was one thing, but it serves a huge population, and I think that that's important. And, that's why I do it. My problem with all the sites, one of the things I looked at is when they did pickups, and they were pretty flexible. They had several days when you could drop off, as opposed to some of them were like the Here to Help is Sunday mornings between this time and that time. And that's, I can't do that on Sunday morning. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. This is pretty consistent. And so I go every Tuesday morning. So depending on where you live, if you want to drop it in Carderock, or if you want to drop it in Potomac on Falls Road at Harshalom, I do a pickup there between 10:15 and 10:30. I'm at my house from 9:30 to 10, and at Harshalom and Potomac from 10:15 to 10:30. And then I just go straight up to wherever it is. So if you want to be on my list, let me know and I'll send you my address or whatever. Okay.
Can you,
Thank you, Marge.
pop your email address in the chat?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, Marge, thank you for that. That was not in any way anything other than a statement of appreciation.
And I want to weigh in and let you know, I was up at the Up County Hub on Friday. They're putting together something for their 3-year anniversary since they got started. And they love getting the soups. They want to keep getting the soups. They showed me the freezer where they didn't have any in there at that moment, but they want soups. And also
I would like to say though that all of our food assistance providers.
Yeah, and I was going to say also Here to Help really wants soups also.
And Rainbow really wants soups.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do all want them. It's a great way to help out. There's unfortunately so many people who are hungry still in this county, and in the DMV. Neha, I believe, brings her soups over to the assistance provider in Reston. So, there's a lot of options and people seem to take advantage of what works for them, which is great. Lynn, I think you might have a question.
Yeah, I've been away for a little while because I moved and I'm getting my kitchen back in order.
Oh, good. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. The thing that I used to take to someplace off of 97, I thought, up close to Alney.
Yeah, a few of the food assistance hubs dropped away. Some of them aren't open anymore, and some of them just kind of moved on, and we consolidated to the few that were really enjoying what we were bringing them. So the only one is no longer, we don't deliver there anymore.
Okay, so I don't know if you remember this, but I'm all about sustainability too,
Sure.
and don't buy plastic containers.
Yeah.
Will they still accept my containers as long as I've carefully cleaned them?
What kind of containers are you using?
So I'm reusing, yogurt or whatever,
I think other people do that as well.
Okay.
And I'll say, Lynn, I have quite often put out on different listservs that I'm on that I'm looking for other people's quart size plastic containers, because the plastic's already been made, and I'd rather me fill, put them through my dishwasher and fill them with soup than have them, put them in the bin, and who knows what's going to happen. So an idea for you too, if you want to.
I have someone who gives me the Kirkland yogurt containers. I have 2 comments on those. One is it's a 48-ounce container. I do not fill it with 48 ounces of soup. I keep it as a quart. Part of that is because they track how many quarts we deliver at the Up County hub.
And on our website.
And on the website. So I only put in quarts worth, even though it's a 48 ouncer. The other thing is because that's plastic that's labeled Kirkland on top and on the side, I double label those. I put a sticker on top that says what it is, and I do a wraparound on the side, because if something falls off, I don't want the donation site to pick it up and say, oh, is this vanilla yogurt? No, it's soup. So I do double label those. Oikos, I think that's the brand, is a quart container, and the outside cuts off. So it becomes a white container. I like it very much. Makes my life easier.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I don't know, I'm not sure where you are, but you could cut across, you could make it a trip to Costco and to the Germantown hub is one place. Where else is up there? Because I had a friend who who used to deliver to that church as well. And it went away at some point.
Yeah, well, I was on the way to my folks' house, so that's why.
I don't know what else is up there. Did anything that high
I'm
up?
looking, I'm trying to remember, so I'm looking on the website. Let's see. And I will remind everyone, I think that the 51, I'm going to take it off the list right now. The 5171 Manning Place refrigerator is not working, so please don't drop off there. So Here to Help, Homes Not Borders is good for this. It's vegetarian, that would work. Rainbow Community is in Silver Spring. It's actually quite close to the Enclave, where so many of the Afghan families that we help are supported. Up County Hub on Middlebrook Road, the Rucker shelter in Reston. That's it. We've really pared it down a lot. So
And the refrigerators in New York.
Oh, in New York and in LA and in maybe I think Philly or something. Yeah, we've got some other ones that are there. But I think, Lynn, where are you located now?
I'm now in Kensington, right beside the park.
Oh, Kensington's not so far from Rainbow, I don't think.
No, I think it's going to be very close.
Good. So just know that when you deliver, I like delivering somewhere around 10 or 11 because that's when they've got their cars driving up. So what you don't want to do is wait in line by mistake, like the cars who are driving up. You enter kind of the other way and pull right up to the top of the line of cars, and you'll get to see your soups going from your car into the cars of the people who are there collecting their food boxes and food bags. So sometime around 10 or 11 or 12 on Tuesday and Thursday are great drop-off times.
The other thing is I don't have a printer, so I was handwriting all my labels. That's
You know
okay.
what? There's nothing wrong with that. Lisa Gapanorris does that, and they are beautiful.
Well, I don't have time to make them beautiful, but.
You don't have to. You
Okay.
don't have to. I was handwriting mine for a long, long time, and they were not beautiful, but Lisa's are. So yours will probably be somewhere in the spectrum, right?
I'll make up for it with the flavor. How about
There
that?
you go. I think that sounds fantastic.
I have several people who deliver to me with masking tape. They write on the masking tape and put it across, whatever.
Okay.
They'll take anything. They don't care.
Yeah.
Happy. The one thing I would say on some of those yogurt containers is I use more tape on those because they're not designed to keep being reused. So I use packing tape across the top so it comes down over the sides just so those lids don't flip off. I find that they're more difficult than the deli containers or those Gladware things.
Yeah.
I have a question about Here to Help. It
Yes.
says on the website 9:30 to 12. Have you found that they really are there at 9:30? Because we've gone a few times at 9:30 and it's really closer to 10, isn't it?
You know what? I can switch it to 10, and especially now that it's summer. In the winter, I didn't really care if they missed it by a little bit. They're solid frozen, but now it is quite warm out, so I'll change it to 10.
Yeah, because my husband's gone a few times at 9:30 because he goes to the farm. He likes to go to the farmer's market right at 9 and
Yeah.
then drop it off. But he said he doesn't like, because it's so hot, he doesn't
Yeah.
like leaving it.
Yeah,
So we've unfortunately had to make a couple trips.
I know.
I know, because
It's really annoying, but tell him, I don't know if he's shy, but I walk, like, I think I told you guys, I just walk right in there if it's open and put my soups in there in
Well,
the refrigerator.
he tried one time or a couple times to walk in and it was locked. So
No. Yeah,
so
he's
he
really
came-
early.
he came back with my soups and then I had to go back.
Aw.
I know.
All right, I know, I mean, she's very grateful for what we send over, but it's never been seamless.
I know. Anyway, so I just wondered, maybe it should be 10 to 12.
I'll edit, I'll take off the Manning Place. Oh, and we sent another refrigerator freezer over to Here to Help. So if people have soups, I think Cheryl confirmed with Hetty last week, if people have soups but not freezer space, that's a place where you can have your soups frozen there. It's a little iffier, a little more iffy to travel with not frozen soups, but if you have to do it, she says she can freeze them there.
At the
Yeah, so
church.
Yeah.
she said, bring them over, obviously, from your refrigerator, and they'll put it in the freezer and deliver the following week or in the midweek when they do their other delivery. So they'll freeze it there. They're happy to get them.
And is that the preferred method? We should freeze them if possible,
Yes.
as opposed to fresh.
Yeah, it just is going to make the ingredients last a whole lot longer. You're not going to worry about spilling. You don't have to worry about so much more when it's frozen.
Some of the sites will only take it frozen. Up County is only going to take frozen soup. Cheryl, while you were there, did they say anything about how many families they're serving at this point, or did you not ask?
I don't know the number, but it's like 1,000 or something. I mean, it's a lot.
It was 750 the last time I heard, so it's probably still that many. Okay, thanks.
They said that, I mean, some of the migrant families are now like staying with other people they know in the trailer park up in Germantown. So the numbers are growing unofficially through things like that as well.
Yeah.
I agree with whoever said they needed to add a lot more liquid. I've added another, container of chicken broth. And I feel like I need to add more water.
Just keep on going.
Yeah.
I did add a lot too. I did 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, I did about 14 quarts of liquid, Lisa. And it's not it's a very dense soup, you know, it's got so much good stuff in it. It's not a very brothy soup, even with 15 quarts.
15 quarts or 15 cups?
I was gonna say 15
right.
quarts. What are you cooking in?
I know, it's true. 15 cups. Thank you, Marge.
Anytime. We got all screwed up yesterday. We had what was it? It said 6 cups and it wasn't 6 cups. It's 6 quarts they wanted of liquid. Speaking of which, Deb, I didn't answer your question on the lemon juice. I did not add lemon juice. It couldn't hurt. That would be fine. I did not do that. My husband doesn't like lemon juice, and so I just kept it out. And also, I should tell you this. Ken wrote back to me that I told Yvonne what to do. I don't care what she said. I told her to do it all at one time. So I told, you know, I told Ken we knew that he did it right and that Yvonne was just picking on him.
All right, I got to check in with Kira because she's doing her taste test. I want to see what she's thinking. Sweet, right?
Well, I might have added too much red pepper flakes. Because mine has a strong kick to it. I'm wondering if I should add something sweeter. A lot of people like super spicy food, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys
I think that you can, I don't know where you're going to be sharing your soups, just write spicy with an exclamation point on it. And that way they know what they're getting and they can say, oh, that's not a good one for me if they don't want that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was curious, what's the origin of this recipe? Is it Italian?
You know, I don't actually know. I have no idea. I got it off the New York Times Melissa Clark blog.
Oh, it has tomatoes, kale, and what else? And orzo. Of course, it's Italian. What else could it be?
Right. It's delicious though.
What do you think about a little vinegar? No?
Maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking, yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, too, but I'm afraid. I'll do it in a little bowl first.
What do you think, balsamic or red wine?
I was going to go with red wine, but I do love a good balsamic. I don't know.
I have 2 pots, so maybe I'll do a little bit of red wine and one and a little bit of balsamic.
I'm going to wait till your taste test. I can't wait. This is great. Kelly, how are you doing? Good. I know you can't talk. I got you. Selma, you thumbs up?
What's that?
How's everything?
Good. Yeah, it's simmering.
Good. All right, Kira, when you're done doing taste tests, tell us all about Uprooted Dance.
I just got myself off mute. Sorry.
Okay.
I wanted to say mine is done, and I wanted to say that I think that the tomatoes add a really nice element to the soup. The tomatoes are really compliment. I think it would be a little bit kind of bland if it weren't for the tomatoes. The tomatoes, and I put a lot of red pepper in mine too. But that sort of unexpected flavor amongst all of the sort of beigeness of the dish, I think really elevates it.
Oh, good. So do you think there's enough tomatoes? I was surprised.
Well, I wish I'd put more. I was very conservative with the tomatoes because I wasn't sure what 2 1/4 cups look like. I would have put more in. If I were to make it again, I would put more in. Just, you know, again, that's my palate talking. So
well, I also liked it for the color as well as the flavor. You know, you could just add a can of chopped tomatoes. There's no reason not to if you feel like you want more tomatoes.
Sure. Yeah. Especially if it's like at the end game, you know, when you're serving it, you could chop up, like finely chop some little tomatoes and put that on the top of.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
Scallions.
Yep.
Is it scallions that go on top, if I recall?
Yep.
Yeah, and that would be nice. And I don't know, I'm kind of intrigued.
Can't really hear you, Kelly. Try it again.
Idea too. I don't. Oh, sorry. I said I like the idea of the vinegar, even though I'm scared to do it.
All right. Well, Kira's doing it for us, so she'll report back in just seconds. Okay, hang on. Lynn, what's up?
I just was curious. The recipe said that the rosemary was optional, so I didn't buy fresh rosemary. But I was thinking if everybody thinks that the rosemary is essential, that I'd.
You have
rethink
your-
that and put it in.
No, 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 no. I don't think it's essential, but many of us said we liked the rosemary, so we were happy
Okay.
to use it. And somebody had dried, not fresh, and we recommended that they maybe start with about a tablespoon and see what they think. There's
Okay.
nothing essential about that rosemary. It's just another yummy flavor.
Okay. And this thing with the scallions, that would only be if you're eating it yourself, not to be added
Right.
to the frozen.
No, I think you actually can add that. This is such a chock full of vegetable soup that if you happen to have scallions in with the soup, that's great. To serve
Okay.
it and to drizzle them on top looks lovely, but we can't do that. So would the soup be better with some scallions or without? If you bought the scallions, put them in.
Okay. Good.
So I have one report.
Okay.
I actually have a raspberry vinegar from Trader Joe's
Mhm.
that I just put a tiny bit because I didn't want to overwhelm one of my batches. And it makes it a very complex, unique flavor.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to try the red wine vinegar here in a second.
Okay. I've got a fig and or a strawberry balsamic glaze. How about one of those in it? That would be kind of along the same lines, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
Red wine vinegar doesn't change much.
Okay. So the fruit vinegar.
The fruity one, yeah, gave it a little bit of that extra kind of sweetness, I think.
I love it. Thank you. Kelly, you gonna try it? I am.
Love you too. Okay. Yeah.
I'm debating.
Okay.
I kind of like it right now.
Oh, then leave it. Good.
I'm having company,
Tonight?
so I want to make sure that it's like,
Yeah, you don't want to
I
get
don't know.
weird.
I think maybe I'll pull out a little bowl for myself and add a drop or two of that in and see what it tastes like. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I feel like we're on an episode of Chopped.
Exactly. How much fun is that? But
So fun.
before you all start to go away, Kira, will you share with us about your dance company?
Sure. Well, hi, I introduced myself. My name is Kira Hart Mendoza, and I have a dance company called Uprooted Dance based here in Montgomery County, specifically in Bethesda. We've been in the area for about almost 15 years now. And we got to know, or I got to know Deb. We're sharing office space with her at the Trawick Foundation, which kind of fosters either newly developing nonprofits or just giving resources to nonprofits that need a helping hand. So it was a great way to meet some folks who are in the same kind of situation where we're trying to grow and get more awareness about our organizations. So Uprooted Dance is a contemporary / modern dance theater performance company, and we perform all around the DC metro area, Virginia, DC, Maryland, and we're primarily adult focused. So we create shows, and they can be outdoor, indoor, set for the stage, set for someone's backyard, set in a swimming pool, set at Brookside Gardens. We really kind of use every place imaginable as our performance stage and space. And then collaboration is also a huge part of our mission. So we're always, every project has some sort of collaborative element, whether it's with a musician, a visual artist, an animator, fashion designer,
Soup chefs.
exactly, chefs, home chefs. So that's like us in a nutshell.
So for instance, tell a little bit about the event that you had last month. That sounded so interesting, and that will make kind of real what you just were sharing. That was a little more kind of, intellectual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our current project, we're working with a group of Japanese American taiko drummers on a project called Seen and Heard. So it's kind of a play on words, dance and sound, but also this idea of being seen and heard in your community as an individual. So at this event on June 3rd, it was an outdoor, we called it a sunset soiree fundraising event where your ticket got you delicious food. Some of it I made, some of it was provided by a caterer. One of my board members is a wine aficionado, so they picked the wines. And then we performed about 6 different excerpts of our current work. So a lot of the dance and drumming pieces. But then because my board member's backyard had a swimming pool, we saw a great opportunity to make a dance created for her swimming pool. So that was sort of like one of the surprises at the end of the night. You know, guests didn't think that there would actually be a dance in the pool, but that's how we ended the evening.
That must have been something. Is that on video somewhere?
Yes, we're working on uploading everything to our website right now.
Okay, very cool.
And another element of the evening, we really love like audience participation. So my friend who's the Japanese drummer, we ended up teaching the whole audience this community dance that's done at outdoor festivals in Japan. And so everybody got up and learned some movement, and it was done sort of in the round, like I'm trying to think, like, you know, any sort of circle dance in a community.
That sounds so fun. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, and so you're based in Bethesda, and your performances and your activities could be absolutely anywhere in the area. You don't have, you don't have a performance home yet. Or I don't even know if you want one, actually, right?
You know, we're open to many things. We're performing in Capitol Hill, July 7th and 8th at CHA, which is called the Capitol Hill Arts Workshop. And then the following weekend we'll be at the Dance Exchange in Tacoma Park, Maryland.
Can you put those events in our chat so everybody has them, and I can copy them and keep them and send them around? I didn't mean to cut you off just before we hang up.
Yeah, and then I'll write these down.
Kira, is this a dance company you have, or are these people who are taking classes that are involved in this? Or is it a mixture?
So typically it's mostly dancers that I've hired. So they're professional dancers, and we get them, we tend to work project by project. It's just really hard to have dancers full-time in this area. So I will, you know, craft an idea, then I'll hold an audition, and then the dancers will know that they're committed, you know, for the next 6 months or 8 months or a year. And we'll try to present that as many times as possible in the DC metro area.
So these are the same programs typically, with maybe a few modifications that you're doing, that you did a couple of weeks ago that you're going to do in July.
Exactly. Yep.
Thank you.
What kind of music?
So like I mentioned, right now we're working with live taiko drumming.
Mm-hmm.
We're also working with some recorded music. He's like an electronic minimalist composer. But it can be anything. Some of our work is funny, some of it is like, you know, poignant or sad, some of it is like, for instance, one of our most well-known projects, we did a month-long installation at Brookside Gardens, and we used all of our, talking about sustainability, using all of our own recycled plastics and waste products, and we turned them into sets and costumes. And we also used some of those plastic containers as musical instruments.
Wow.
So, you know, like turning them into shakers or percussive instruments, or drumming on garbage cans. So really, we kind of like look at everything as our palette, like whether it's trash or anything. You can make any place a stage. You can make music any way you think about it. So really emphasizing the creative expression part of it.
Fantastic. See, Marge, it's not only soup that's forgiving, it's dance costumes and everything else as well, right?
I'm
That's
curious how you got into this.
Sure. Well, I went to James Madison University for undergrad, and I entered as a theater major, and I had to take a modern dance class as one of the requirements for the theater major. And I had never really danced before, so I'm sort of the weird anomaly of, I took this beginning level modern dance class and quickly fell in love with dance, but thought, who in their right mind decides to major in dance when they're like about to be 20 years old? But I had some very fabulous mentors and professors in undergrad who were like, no, you're a natural, like you bring so much to the table. Who cares if you didn't dance? Like, this is where you learn. So once I decided to major in dance, I just went gung-ho and did as much of it as I possibly could, took summer workshops and summer school for dance, and went to get my master's in dance. So just poured myself 100% into the field.
Okay, thank you.
How's your junior chef doing?
She's making a lot of noise here in the kitchen.
We like noise. We do that. Some of us do that very well.
I can't complain because she's washing dishes right now.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I thought that's what husbands were for.
Oh,
At least in my case, it's the only thing you can do. I need to know if anyone is dropping soup off at my house tomorrow. Lisa, Lisa, anyone else? Who is down there that I can't see? What is this? Kelly, are you dropping by?
Not sure, maybe.
Okay, if you're not here by 10 o'clock, I'm leaving, but you can drop it later in the week and I'll just freeze it and throw it into next week's delivery. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Marge, I may drop it, but after you leave, like, so that it freezes. I'll
That's
put it in my
fine.
refrigerator. Now that I have that great tip that you guys gave me last week to put it in, I've got a big pan ready to put it all in. So,
Yeah. Some of us missed last week
cool
too,
it down.
because
Ice
we were
water
having
and stuff.
so much fun last week at Sibley Hospital. I do not recommend their emergency room. I cannot tell you how inept they are. Yes, it's much calmer than suburban, but it was ridiculous. So,
Well, we missed you and we're glad you're back.
well, and I made the soup. I mean, I've been playing catch up for a couple of weeks now, but I've got all my soups. I'm currently at where I need to be. Everything's done. I think, how many quarts of soup was this, Lisa?
I got a total of 6.
Okay, it looks like about that. I can see it. It may need a little more water. I can't decide if I want to add the vinegar or not. It sounds tempting to me.
I just did it because I have this in my pantry and it's a glaze with strawberry and balsamic vinegar. And so I did based on what Kira said, and I think it's delicious. It probably is going to add a little bit of sugar, which is a bummer, but not too bad. So
I didn't use fennel, so I don't find mine overwhelmingly sweet. Yes, there's a sweetness to the broth, but it's not terrible. I have or had some sort of balsamic glaze. All I need to do is find it. I don't know if you saw me earlier looking. I was searching a closet. I knew I had pepper flakes.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I found them, but I kept moving everything around. They were way in the back. I don't know how they got there.
All right, I just saw Marcia try hers. Marcia, what do you think? Wait, you're muted.
I need to add more salt and pepper, but I think I might add vinegar. I add vinegar to a lot of soups. So
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful. The
Isn't it
greens and
beautiful?
the tomatoes.
I know it's so colorful. I don't know why Kelly's was brown. I think it's just your phone, Kelly. It's not really it's light on the phone. Did you say yours was?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I was teasing you. Did you say that your soup was kind of like dull colored? Because ours is so bright with the carrots and the kale and the tomatoes and the.
Yeah, well, it wasn't until when I put the spinach in and the tomatoes, but everything else, like the pasta's beige, the chickpeas are beige, the broth is beige, and the carrots are light in color. I don't know, mine were like, but then the other things that really like elevated the color. When I pulled mine out, it's the vinegar in it. I didn't really like it when I did that, but
it wasn't good that you only did a little bowl.
But you know what? I think it makes a difference. Like adding at the end like that, it's not really fair. You know, like me throwing it in at the very end on top of it is different than me it absorbing into the soup. I think it's really good. I like the soup a lot.
Oh, good. Yeah, you don't even need the vinegar then if you like it a lot. I thought it was really good.
Sorry, I didn't realize that I was not on mute that whole time I was clanking around. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Look at multitasking here tonight.
I know you've got company. Well, thank you for joining us. Don't worry about us. We're all good. Lynn,
I just made a whole nother dinner while we were doing the soup.
What are you making? What's for dinner over there?
So I made this really delicious thing. I have this pasta chicken recipe. It's all one pot. Let's see if I can show you.
Oh,
you see this?
That looks beautiful.
So in it, there is I use the rotisserie, but I usually bake the chicken. So there's asparagus and spinach and pasta and cashews and scallions, and then it's really good, you know, sort of homemade oil-based dressing. You just
go ahead.
You want me to share it?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had this recipe for a long time, and the woman that gave it to me, it's very cryptic. So when you read the recipe, just here, it basically you just put all the stuff in together. That's it. It's not like there's no step-by-step directions. So the step-by-step direction is that you just drop it all in and mix it up.
That sounds like our kind of recipe.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
if
great when you're like tonight, when you're having company, but you're like busy. It's like, I'm gonna make this because it doesn't involve, it's a one pot meal, you know, and then they can also have the soup if they want it.
All right, well, when you have a chance, send it to me and I'll send it out to everyone. Kira's daughter, what's your name?
Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. How is your soup?
Good.
Yay, Lucy. I'm so glad we got a thumbs up from you. Did you help cook as well as do dishes, or are you just on dish duty?
I'm on dish duty.
Okay. Next time, will you cook with us, maybe? Mama's in charge next week.
And you know what we're doing, Lucy? Watermelon gazpacho, watermelon soup.
No? No.
Gonna be so good. Lucy, thanks for cooking with us. Oh my God, she's licking the bowl clean. I love it.
She's my veggie eater. Meanwhile, my son walked by the pot of soup and he was like, "Oh, what's that?"
Denise has the same thing going on at home. She's got meat eaters at home and she loves a good vegetable filled soup, but the guys always want the meat. Lynn, is that an old hands up or do you have a hand up?
No, I have a hand up. I just was curious. Again, I thought I saw mustard greens, which I couldn't find.
Yeah.
And it said you could substitute spinach. I was curious if anybody did the spinach and what their reaction was.
Lisa did.
I did the spinach and it was very good.
I did spinach too.
Okay, good.
I did spinach also and it's yummy.
Great.
Oh, good. All right. Well, we found ourselves another keeper, this recipe. I love it. And I so appreciate you all tuning in and cooking with us. Sarah, are you all good?
I'm not done yet. I'm still chopping. I picked my own rosemary, so I definitely used rosemary.
Okay.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I could tell that I'm going to need a lot more water from the recipe. I think it says 6 cups, but it may mean something more than 6 cups.
We were, what'd we say? We were at 12 or something crazy?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
I think I had at least 14 by the, because I just keep adding 2 and 2 and 2. I just don't have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, don't be shy with adding liquid. And thank you everyone for cooking today.
Thank you, Deb.
You're
Thank you,
welcome. Have a good dinner with your
Bye.
company and we'll see you
Thank
all
you.
next week with Kira and Lucy.
Great. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yummy.